If you've ever had the perfect Mother's Day gift, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook as we kick off what is likely going to be another crazy week. I mean, let's face it, they all have been this year, right? We're back for another one. It is Monday, May 11th, and we got more earnings this week. We've got more things happening. We've got Qualcomm exploding. Circle reported earnings here today. We got a lot to break down. We've got movers to trade. We're going to have guests this week. It's going to be a good one. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend and Mother's Day. And for the mothers out there, I hope it was a phenomenal weekend. It was your weekend. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Monday edition for May 11th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Again, I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. We're back at it for another market week. Happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. We're back at it again, and it is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces also back at it again. Solitary Soldier is first here today, getting up early, getting it done. Early bird gets the worm, that is for sure. Good morning, boss. Nice to see you back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Zach says it's an interesting week ahead. Wild, interesting, fun, all of those things. Good to see you, Zach. Ethan, good morning. Welcome back. Tony, good morning. ADUR. You want to take a look at ADUR. We can bring that up in the mover section. Ooh, I didn't have my notepad here, Tony. Let me get that so that I don't forget. There's notepad. I was going to say, what's going on? ADUR added. We will take a look at that here shortly. Good morning. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Ryan, good morning. Welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Can we add Rocket Lab to the list to check out? It's in an all-time high breakout. Ask and you shall receive. RKLB will absolutely do that. Probably wait for the mover section again on that just to bring on 13. I know he's big on the space theme. We'll ask him what he thinks about that. Where am I? Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Clear and warm here today. Boy, I'll tell you what, that weather in Denver is something else. Snow last week, clear and warm this week. Lock in, Peter. Reggie, good morning. Welcome back. Good action, apparently, in the pre-market here on Rocket Lab. We'll take that. Got to be quick in and out. Congrats on all of you pre-market traders. Whis, good morning. Welcome back. Whis, who do you have for the, the players coming up this weekend? Let me know what you're thinking on that. Big series starting here this week with the Cubs and Braves. Cubs won 10, lost 2, won another 10, and then they lost to the Rangers, and here we are with the Braves. We'll see how it goes. Good morning, Wes. Kelly, good morning. Intel is moving, but it's dumb luck that I'm in it. Is it? Are you sure? I don't think it is. I barely know what I'm doing. Oh, that can't be true. This show has taught me that you really have to keep up with the news, Benzinga. Thank you. Well, indeed, you have to keep up with the news. Let me venture a little bit of a pushback on that, though, Kelly. One of the reasons that you're in Intel is because we talk about it every single day. And when I say we, I don't just mean the two people that you see on the stream. Our guests talk about it. Our chat talks about it. The news is talking about it. Intel's in the news. So you're actually in something that is moving with the news. There's like a thematic undercurrent here that's moving some of these stocks, and Intel is at the forefront of that. So I don't think it's dumb luck at all. I think that you're paying attention, frankly, and you're trading that. I think what you're actually referring to is that you feel as if it's dumb luck that it's working, right? The price is higher than the price that you bought it. That's not dumb luck either. That has to do with your risk management and how you control all of that. What I would say is I'm definitely happy that it's moving in the direction. If you feel that you don't know what you're doing, I think it's going to be very important for you to take notes on this trade, why certain things happen. Why did it move up one day? Why did it move down one day? Why are you in it? Where do you hope to get out of it? What ended up happening? A lot to learn from all of this. I certainly don't think it's dumb luck, though. Apply it. And apply that to your next trade. That's how you're successful in this business, as you stack multiple trades after one another. You're doing great, and we are here to help as best we can. We can't recommend But we can talk about lessons that we've learned, no doubt. Zach says, for space stocks, I would hold until the X of the SpaceX IPO. I beg your pardon. Maybe I'm wrong, but I expect the sector to pump. Zach, I'm in the same camp that you're in, so maybe we're both wrong. I expect all space stocks to be thematic. Perhaps there's a sell the news event for SpaceX as people sell winners in order to raise cash for the IPO. There's other AI IPOs coming out. Perhaps that's possible, but I'm in complete agreement with you. The space stock should remain strong up until that IPO, and then maybe even after it. But we'll see how they trade. We'll make that assessment when the time comes. Good little quick discussion there. Graf, good morning. Janie, good morning. Good to see you again. Kevin, good morning. Doc, good morning. Good morning, everyone. May God bless you with health and prosperity. One love. We will take those blessings. Many blessings back to you as well. Really good stuff there, Doc. And I hope that you are also filled with health and prosperity. Kelly says, anyone know anything about EVC? EVC, that was from last week, right? That was a mover from last week. That was Entravision. They did the Spanish broadcasting. Actually, we've got a floating island on the chart. So let me review that. And AMD, we talked about last week. We'll do that in chart review here this morning, Kelly. Give you a little bit more. Marionette, good to see you. Good morning. Castle, good morning. Reggie, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Producers locked in. Producer, we appreciate everything that you do. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. The Sabres are hideous. Yo, the Sabres are a good team, but so are the Canadians. I wouldn't get too down on that game last night. We'll see how it shakes out. I did cash my parlay on that game though, so that's good. AC, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Joseph, good morning. Reggie says, are you sitting there and you haven't taken a second to hit the like button? Why not? Is the information good to you? Thank you, Reggie. We appreciate that. That's nice and clever. Please hit that like, folks. It's easy and free, and it's a good way to support us. Good morning, Tyler. It's great to see you. Chuck, good morning. JB, good morning. Det, good morning. Deep, good morning. Drew, good morning. How do we like RGTI? So I'm going to add, oh boy, you guys, I have a full list of stocks here to take a look at. Drew, welcome. I know this is your first time here. So we have some mixed thoughts on some of the quantum names. I'm sure we can go over it a little bit more as we get more in through the show. But we have a mixed thought on some of the quantum names. Now, Rigetti has been a great trade for us. Rigetti and then the inverse ETF, RGTZ, has been a great kind of a short-term trade. I think we like IONQ and INFQ a little bit more than Rigetti for long-term quantum, but quantum has been a theme for us this year, and we traded actively. No position for me right now. I'm sure we'll end up taking a look at that, though, as we move along here. Maverick, good morning. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Loud, good morning. Jim, good morning. All right. We got a lot of folks in here. This is great. Bachwurst, good morning. Beth, good morning. Sanjay, good morning. Nancy, good morning. Matthew, good morning. Who else? Well, Brian, nice to see you again. Good morning. Unpopular Truth, good morning. Liam, good morning. Tom, good morning. The Mitchells, good morning. Sun-Kissed Blondie, good morning. Work Life, good morning. Will the semi-crazy run continue? Well, so far it looks like it is. Intel's already pumping again. So is AMD. So far so good. We'll see if it holds throughout the course of the day. Raid, good morning. And Lion Atlas, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures are slightly under pressure here ahead of Monday's open. S&P futures are down by 0.1%, minus 0.10. Dow futures down also 0.1%, minus 0.10. And the NASDAQ also down 0.10. So slightly under pressure, 0.1% across the board here today. This is on the back of the news that the counter proposal from Iran was deemed unacceptable by the Trump administration. Oil's actually a little bit higher here today by about 3.3%. Honestly, on the surface, I know it's early. We'll see what happens, but I guess kind of shocked that the market isn't down a little bit more with oil rising like that. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Information technology, consumer discretionary, materials, and real estate stocks closed higher on Friday, while S&P 500 sectors like utilities, healthcare, financials, energy, and industrials ended negatively. U.S. stock futures fell on Monday after Friday's higher close. This followed President Trump's rejection of Iran's response to U.S.-backed peace proposal. Trump took to Truth Social and wrote, "I have just read the response. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable." End quote. On the economic front, investors will be looking out for the crucial Consumer Price and Producers Index reports this week. Companies like Cisco Systems, ticker CSCO, Alibaba Holdings, ticker BABA, Applied Materials, ticker AMAT, and Him and Hers Health, ticker HIMS, will report earnings this week. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.38%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.92%. CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show the market pricing in a 93.6% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one is going to be Antelope Enterprise Holdings, and I believe this was a mover from Friday. This is ticker AEHL. I know the group has traded this a whole bunch. That surged 15.83% in the pre-market on Monday after it unveiled $190,000 in realized gains from its Genius Plan, a dynamic Bitcoin-focused digital asset management strategy. The next stock on our list is going to be Moderna, and the ticker is MRNA, and shares jumped 8.57% as traders reacted to a peer-reviewed phase 3 flu vaccine data. We'll see how that ends up trading here today. Micron is the next stock on our list. The memory pump continues. Micron, ticker MU, rose 2.1% after memory-linked chipmaker logged 35% week-to-date gains last week. The stock's best week since December of 2008. Can it top it this week? Does it keep going? We'll see here. Micron, absolutely on watch. The next stock on our list is going to be Innodata, and this is ticker INOD or INOD. It fell 2.82%, but that's after surging 86% on Friday after the company reported better than expected first quarter financial results and issued fiscal 26 sales guidance above estimates. The last stock on our list is going to be Fluor, and the ticker is FLR. It rose 1.29% after falling over 15% on Friday as it reported worse than expected first quarter financial results. The interesting thing about this is that we talked about this being a possible data infrastructure play. It sure looks like that hasn't panned out yet. All right, folks, let's take a look at the SPY chart and see where we are at. So we continue this move higher. Now, just kind of getting some actual levels here. Again, we're a little bit soft here in the pre-market. SPY is actually down 0.15%. S&P futures have moved to minus 0.12%, so a little bit lower than we first signed on here. But the all-time high here from Friday was going to be 738.08. That indeed is going to be a key level here today. We'll see if we can really kind of breach the 738 level, perhaps close above. That would signal a new all-time high. Otherwise, if we pull back here, the first key level that I'm looking at is going to be this 725. We actually made this high on Friday, May 1st. We also made this high on Tuesday, May 5th, or thereabouts. And I would suspect we actually have a little bit of a gap here in between the Tuesday and Wednesday candle of last week. So I would expect 725 to produce some type of support if we indeed pull back here at all this week. We also have the 20-day moving average continuing to creep up here, 715.50. This should also provide some support if we do make a quick move down. We'll see how tough or sticky that support is. But so far, these are really my key levels. Do we set a new all-time high here today, 738? What did I give you for that number? 738.08? Or do we come back in towards the 725 key level there? I guess it's also worth taking a very quick look at the Qs. This has also continued to break out. While we don't have the same numbers here, I would still think that a pullback towards 682, maybe 681, 682 on the triple Qs, that might actually provide some support. You can see we're up here at 710. This chart looks like it's absolutely just kind of breaking away, right? We kind of traded sideways. We had a little bit of a dip. That dip got bought ferociously and it moved higher. The only caveat amongst both of these charts is that the volume is still kind of low. If we see that picking up and either of these charts hold on, I think we're going to be in breakout mode. All right. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. See where we are going with that. We'll also talk about some of the upcoming economic data prints. Mohamed El-Arian paints a picture of a striking divergence between record-breaking stock markets and a fraying global economic backdrop. While the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ continue to hit all-time highs, as we just showed, El-Arian warns that this optimism is increasingly decoupled from a reality defined by geopolitical instability and stubborn inflation. A primary concern for El-Arian is the persistence of the supply-side shock, specifically citing the critical blockades in the Strait of Hormuz. He notes that if these disruptions remain, quote, embedded in the price and quantity of goods, end quote, the risk of secondary inflation effects and demand destruction grows. This creates a difficult environment for households where gas prices and diesels are hitting record levels while household sentiment comes in at yet another record low. That was a quote. Regarding policy, El-Arian expects a higher for longer interest rate environment. He points out that markets have pushed expectation for Fed cuts far into next year as the central bank grapples with a legacy of missed opportunities to contain inflation. Ultimately, he cautions that while equity markets remain, quote, impressively resilient, end quote, the widening gap between capital markets and economic fundamentals suggests a period of intense market calibration and corporate margin pressure ahead. Now, let's take a look at some of the economic news or economic data points that we are expecting here today. On Monday, we get April's existing home sales data out by 10. I don't think we're expecting any surprises there, but that's scheduled for 10. Tomorrow, Tuesday, New York Fed President John Williams speaks at Zurich at 3:15 in the morning, so we'll be able to digest those comments as we show up to our terminals early on Tuesday. And April's NFIB Optimism Index will be out by 6. April's Consumer Price Index, including year-over-year figures and core CPI, will be out by 8:30. Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee is expected to speak at 1. That's followed by April's monthly U.S. federal budget at 2. On Wednesday, April's Producer Price Index, so the PPI comes in. Year-over-year PPI data will be released at 8:30. We also have Boston Fed President Susan Collins delivering a speech at 11:30. On Thursday, April's U.S. retail and retail sales minus autos, initial jobless claims for the week ending May 9th, and April's import price index data will be released at 8:30. The March business inventories data will be out by 10. Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack will give opening remarks at 1. And New York Fed President John Williams will speak again at 5:45. And Federal Reserve Governor Michael Barr will speak at 7. So Thursday is going to have a lot of talking heads. On Friday, we're expecting May's Empire State Manufacturing Survey to be out by 8:30. I don't expect that to move the market at all. All right, folks, I'm going to get through some of the news here. Those charts that you wanted to take a look at, yes, we will be taking a look at them. That will probably come in the next 40 minutes or so here as we move to pre-market pulse. I've got all of those. Just to recap, I've got ADUR, Rocket Lab, EVC, AMD, and Rigetti. So we'll be taking a look at all of those charts as the pre-market settles out. But let's keep rolling through some of the news here that's going to be affecting things. This next story here is an interesting one. Foreign investors now hold $21.3 trillion in U.S. stocks, and allocations hit a record 63%, which surpasses the dot-com bubble. So right off the surface here, I was told by a number of folks that, oh, yeah, Trump is making it so that people don't want to invest in the United States. We didn't have any data. That was just talking head points. No data supported that. Now we're getting more that shows that that's completely wrong. But this actually brings up another potential here. Do all of the foreign investors holding this high of an allocation here, does this make us more susceptible to a big pullback or a big correction or some type of capitulatory event lower? Or are they going where the getting is best? I'd like to hear from the group on this. But let's roll through the news story and see what they have to say. Overseas capital is flooding the American financial markets at an increasing pace, with foreign investors heavily favoring equities over other asset classes and breaking historical records in the process. International market participants are aggressively doubling down on the American economy, signaling immense confidence in domestic corporate growth. According to recent data from the Kobisi letter, a letter which we love to track here and you all should follow on Twitter if you don't already, which tracks foreign holdings of U.S. financial assets, overseas investors now allocate, quote, a record 63%, end quote, of their portfolios directly to U.S. equities. This massive shift represents a profound and swift concentration of global capital because these investors are continually piling into the markets. Foreign entities currently own an absolute record of $21.3 trillion in U.S. stocks and equity funds. This valuation reflects a dramatic 170% increase in total equity ownership since the beginning of 2020. Its rapid accumulation emphasizes how heavily reliant global portfolios have become on the performance of the American stock market. The current enthusiasm for American equities stands in stark contrast to long-term historical norms. According to the shared chart, the current 63% allocation surpasses the 2000 dot-com bubble peak by about 10 percentage points, end quote. During the height of that speculative tech boom at the turn of the millennium, foreign equity allocation peaked just above 50% threshold before sharply reversing. Furthermore, the global investment landscape has completely transformed over the last decade and a half. The current allocation percentage has, quote, more than doubled since the 2008 financial crisis, end quote. During that severe economic downturn, foreign equity holdings plummeted near the 20% mark as investors fled to safer assets. Today, the pendulum has swung entirely in the opposite direction, leaving markets to navigate uncharted territory as foreign exposure reaches a new all-time high. So I ask you again, is the foreign exposure a good thing or is it a bad thing? Does it signal that, hey, the going is best in the U.S. market and there's more room to grow there? Or does it signal, hey, the concentration might be a little too high and we are due for another big correction there? A Lion here says the economy is good, but only for a few billionaires. 70% of ordinary Americans are struggling. And it's this K-shaped economy that we've talked a lot about, and how that continues to get worse. So anyway, we'll see here what this means for our market, what all of the foreign investment means right now. Sitting up here near record highs feels all right. Butcher Jones says it signals caution. And that's what I was trying. Thank you for answering that. That's exactly what I was trying to get at here. We've got the Trump-Xi meeting coming up this week, right? The 13th. So that's going to be Wednesday, the 13th through the 15th. We obviously have some ongoing conflicts. Now you're telling me about it is signaling some caution. Does that caution lead to capitulation? I guess is my bigger question. Let me know what you think about that. But good stuff there. Good stuff there on that. I think this is a theme that we'll be able to continue to watch here. Now the next story here. This is. I don't have a trade on this. We'll see if I feel good enough about a trade on this, but I think that this is a real thing, and I actually do expect some change over the summer into the fall. I can't wait to hear what you folks think about this. Trump warns that the NFL could be, quote, killing the golden goose, end quote, with all of the streaming costs. Now, Trump removed from the story. We've talked a lot about how difficult it is to find live sporting events, especially for the NFL. I know a lot of the NBA playoff games have been on Amazon Prime, which I have, so it's not really a big deal for me, but others that don't, maybe they can't watch that. Over, I think, late last week, if you were a San Diego Padres fan, I can't even imagine what you went through. You had a 4-game set where all 4 games were on different services, and none of them had hometown announcers. So this is a bigger problem, and I think that if there's any type of big movement on this, I actually think it's going to impact some public companies. Sorry for my rant there, but I think that this is kind of gearing up for a potential move in some of these stocks, and if we can trade it, there might be money to be made. President Trump expressed his concerns over the streaming costs of the National Football League amid ongoing antitrust probes by the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, and the Justice Department. During the Sinclair Group's Full Measure interview broadcast on Sunday, reporter Cheryl Atkinson asked the president why the NFL was, quote, price gouging, end quote, and if the administration planned to take action. Trump voiced his dissatisfaction, warning that the league's business model could be jeopardized if it loses its antitrust exemption. Trump said rising costs are making football less affordable for fans, warning that the NFL could be, quote, killing the golden goose, end quote, by pricing out loyal supporters. Trump hinted at the possibility of his administration intervening, though he did not provide any specific details. He expressed his unhappiness by stating, quote, I don't like it, end quote. He goes on to say, quote, they're making a lot of money. They could make a little bit less. You've got people that live for Sunday, like myself. They can't think about anything else. And then all of a sudden they're going to have to pay $1,000 a game, question mark, end quote. President also questioned the safety of the NFL's new dynamic kickoff, a feature the league claims has helped reduce head injuries during games. He expressed hope that this feature would not be adopted by college football. Well, it's not clear how Trump arrived at the $1,000 figure. The growing cost of multiple streaming subscriptions, along with cable and satellite packages needed to watch a full NFL season, has fueled concerns amongst fans. Critics argue the issue is tied to the league's government-backed limited antitrust exemption under the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961, signed by former President John F. Kennedy, which allows the league to negotiate lucrative broadcast deals collectively. The NFL is currently facing an investigation by the Department of Justice over potential anti-competitive tactics related to media rights. This probe is focused on the league's affordability for consumers and creating an even playing field for providers, end quote. The investigation comes as the league explores early renegotiation of media rights deals and considers a larger game package with Netflix, ticker NFLX. In response to the probe, the league says its media distribution model is highly fan and broadcaster friendly, noting that more than 87% of NFL games air on free broadcast television. NFL is renegotiating parts of its 11-year, $111 billion media rights agreement with partners including CBS, NBC, Fox, Walt Disney, ticker DIS, ESPN, Amazon's Prime Video, ticker AMZN. The updated deals are expected to boost the league's revenue and remove an opt-out clause after the 29-30 season, extending the partnerships. The NFL has already started renewal talks with Paramount Skydance PSKY's CBS, which currently pays about $2.1 billion annually for Sunday's games and could pay more than $3 billion under the new agreement. So to me, the way this reads is it's definitely the NFL is standing pat, right? They don't go against the shield is a big time adage when it comes to talking about the NFL and the business side of everything. The reality here, and I hear this from people of all different walks of economic life, all different backgrounds, all different levels of sports fandom. It's hard to find all of these games. And in a lot of cases, you have to spend easily over $1,000. I don't know about $1,000 per game, but easily over $1,000 on subscriptions just to watch the games throughout the course of a season. And so I think that it behooves us to watch some of this because if there's regulation on any of this, it could make some of these assets that are publicly traded more valuable than others. The NFL is king when it comes to sports. And if that's going to be a driver here behind any of these stocks, whether it's something like Amazon, Netflix, Paramount, Skydance, or anything in between, I think it behooves us to know about that and follow it along. Seems like they're only in preliminary discussions right now, but we'll see. Tyler here says YouTube TV NFL Sunday ticket is like $500. Yeah, I buy it every year. And before it was on YouTube and it was on DirecTV, I bought it then too. So like I said, there's a lot of people that kind of go after this. There's a lot of money changing hands. And if any of these regulations change the way that things are going to do or kind of upset the apple cart, there may be a trade for us to capitalize on. And I don't have a target for that. If you guys come up with anything, I definitely want to know. Definitely want to know. All right. We're 31 ahead of the hour here. Let's keep rolling. Next story here. Kathy Wood says Wall Street has it backwards and that inflation is going to surprise lower. Now, I almost hesitated to even bring this story to you guys because some of you folks really dislike Kathy or simply don't trust her. But you know what? That might provide some valuable information too. Let's see what she has to say, though. about this. ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood asserts that Wall Street's stagflation fears are fundamentally misguided, predicting that structural economic forces will soon drive inflation unexpectedly lower. While market consensus braces for sticky inflation and economic stagnation, Wood believes analysts are looking in the wrong direction. In her latest macroeconomic update, Wood laid out a heavily contrarian framework stating that consumer price inflation is poised to, quote, surprise on the low side of expectations in the next 6 to 9 months, end quote. Wood points to real-time economic indicators to validate her stance, citing Trueflation, a real-time measure tracking thousands of goods and services. And she noted that the core inflation metric has already plummeted to just 1%. Furthermore, she pointed out that the yield curve is flattening, suggesting that the bond market is quietly beginning to price in underlying deflationary undercurrents. A primary driver of this anticipated drop in inflation is the rapid integration of artificial intelligence, or AI, which Wood describes as, quote, highly deflationary, end quote. And remember, she's not the only one that's been saying this. As AI training and inference costs collapse year over year, companies are realizing massive cost-saving efficiency gains. Coupled with these technological advancements, Wood highlighted that non-farm productivity is running near 3%, and that's a crucial metric that suppresses unit labor costs. Quote, if we're right and productivity is roughly 3% now, we can have 5% compensation increases, which would give us 2% unit labor costs, end quote. She explained this, noting this falls comfortably in line with the Federal Reserve's target. Beyond inflation data, Wood anticipates a broader economic resurgence. She noted that the 30-year ceiling in U.S. capital spending, quote, just broke to the upside, end quote, signaling that domestic manufacturing and productivity are beginning to boom. Despite widespread consumer pessimism currently fueled by housing affordability and oil price spikes, Wood maintains the U.S. is finally exiting a multi-year rolling recession. How about that? With the U.S. dollar stabilizing and expected to make its next major move to the upside, Wood remains resolute that structural deflation and robust growth, not stagflation, will dictate the market's trajectory. So how many of you think Kathy is correct? Lion doesn't buy it, saying, quote, Kathy is worse than Kramer, end quote. Actually, he did give it to us. It's worse than Creamer. It's worse than Creamer. Okay, there we go. Kathy and Creamer would make a great couple. Man, Lion is out here just trying to matchmake people. That is something else. In any case, let me know. I mean, this to me seems to put all of the eggs in the AI basket, for lack of a better term. If AI actually does help outperform or helps reduce margins and all of that, and perhaps that will have an impact on inflation, and we won't necessarily be in stagflation. Okay, we'll see. All right, next story here. This is about Intel. And as you know what, let's take a quick look at the Intel chart. Let's break up some of the news here real fast. Let's take a quick look at the Intel chart. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. Kelly, you're having a good day. You had said earlier that you don't know why, or you didn't know what you were doing. I pushed back on that a little bit. Intel is mooning up 4% here in the pre-market. This is what the intraday chart looks like. First things first, just kind of looking at the chart, this intraday high from Friday, definitely a key level. You can see we actually traded above that a little bit in the pre-market, kind of used that area as support, broke beneath it. Now we're kind of playing this as resistance. So this 130 to 131 right out of the gate here is going to be pretty important on Intel. But this is what the daily chart looks like. The reason I'm bringing this, let's actually go to a weekly here. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this chart is literally a vertical wall. This thing has gone parabolic. So I'm not here to tell you folks how to trade or what to do with your investments. But I will say this. We've been talking about Intel now for what feels like, a month and a half, maybe 2 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. Every upside buyer in Intel is profitable here this morning. Every one of them. Unless you bought and closed the trade when it moved against you, you're profitable. And so I think we're at the stage now where we really need to start thinking about kind of lightening some of this, right? Booking some of the gains. If you are in the camp where you're like, this is so crazy, I bought this and it keeps going up, I don't know what to do. I think it's probably good risk management to maybe lighten some of that, book some of those gains, and then follow along with what's going on here. Now, with that being said, the pre-market action here pretty good. There's no sense saying that this can't trade up through 135 and keep going here on Intel. Obviously, there's been a lot of news recently, and one of those pieces of news that has driven Intel recently is this one. And let's actually go through the story here. This is regarding the Apple and Intel partnership that we got news on last week. Apple supply headaches forces surprise Intel partnership. Let me know what you think about this one. Apple, ticker AAPL, and Intel, ticker INTC, have reportedly reached a preliminary agreement for Intel to manufacture some of Apple's designed chips. Really quickly, just to kind of do this for a sec here, put my conspiracy theory tinfoil cap squarely on my head right here. Does anyone think that this thing coming down the pike here played into why Tim Cook stepped down now? I'm not reporting anything. I'm just speculating and wondering. You remember Apple used to work with Intel for their chips. Then they went back to Apple Silica. Those MacBooks were incredible. People love them. Now Tim Cook is stepping down. Now we get that. Is it connected? You folks are going to have to let me know. I don't know what I think about that. I'm just bringing it up here. Anyway. Apple and Intel have reached a preliminary agreement for Intel to manufacture some of Apple's designated chips. This move could reshape relationships across the semiconductor supply chain while easing Apple's growing dependence on Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM. Taiwan Semiconductor stock traded lower in the pre-market on Monday, and in contrast, Intel traded higher in the pre-market today and also on Friday. People familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal on Friday that Apple and Intel finalized the framework of a deal after more than a year and a half of negotiations. However, the company have not disclosed which Apple products would use Intel-made chips. Apple currently depends heavily on Taiwan Semiconductor to manufacture processors used in iPhones, iPad, and Macs. The company has recently faced supply shortages tied to surging industry demand for advanced semiconductors, particularly from artificial intelligence chip makers such as NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. During Apple's recent earnings call, CEO Tim Cook said shortages of advanced chips affected the company's ability to meet demand for certain products, including Mac Mini and Mac Studio models. Apple later raised the starting price of the Mac Mini. Industry observers said Apple's move reflects growing pressure on Taiwan Semiconductor's production capacity amid surging demand for advanced AI chips. That was reported by the Taipei Times earlier today. President Capital Management Chairman Park Lee told CNA that Apple's reported shift does not signal dissatisfaction with Taiwan Semiconductor's technology. Instead, he said soaring demand from AI chip customers such as NVIDIA has tightened Taiwan Semiconductor's advanced manufacturing capacity, of course, thereby making it more difficult for Apple. Analysts also noted that Apple wants to diversify manufacturing and expand U.S.-based semiconductor production as Washington pushes to rebuild domestic chip manufacturing capabilities. This has all been said for a long time. Taiwan's Institute of Economic Research economist Arisa Liu said Taiwan Semiconductor's advanced packaging and technologies, including InFO and CoWoS, remain essential for Apple's A-series and M-series chips. Liu said Intel and Samsung Electronics, ticker SSNLF on the OTC, still trail Taiwan Semiconductor in chip yields and power efficiency, making it difficult for Apple to shift flagship chip production away from the Taiwanese foundry in the near term. She added that Apple and Taiwan Semiconductor have developed deep technological ties over many years, creating a significant competitive barrier. According to Liu, Intel's 18A process and Samsung's 2-nanometer gate-all-around technology still face challenges tied to yield stability and power consumption during large-scale manufacturing. She said Taiwan Semiconductor's stable delivery performance and research capabilities continue to strengthen its leadership position, while shifting major orders too quickly could create supply chain risks for Apple. The reported Apple partnership marks a major milestone for Intel Foundry, which has struggled for years to attract large, outsized customers following manufacturing delays and technical setbacks. Since becoming CEO in 2025, Lip-Bu Tan has aggressively reshaped Intel's leadership and manufacturing strategy. He recruited former Taiwan Semiconductor executive Wei Jianluo, reorganized Intel's product divisions, and increased investments in Intel's advanced 14A manufacturing process. The Trump administration also played a central role in supporting Intel's turnaround. The U.S. government converted nearly $9 billion in federal grants into Intel equity last year, giving Washington roughly a 10% stake in the chipmaker. An amazing trade by Trump, actually. According to the people familiar with the discussions, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick repeatedly met with Apple CEO Tim Cook, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, and Elon Musk to encourage partnerships with Intel. President Trump also personally urged Cook to work with Intel during a White House meeting. And now, here is where we are. So we have talked a lot. Bath is saying Intel is trying to compete with TSM. You know, we have talked about that a lot. We have talked about how Taiwan Semiconductor is so advanced in making the really small, really powerful, really advanced chips. And I can totally understand Intel wanting to compete with that. Now, how close is that competition going to be? How long is it going to take for them actually to catch up? I don't know the answer to that. I really think that the generalization that 13 made, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, it almost doesn't matter what chips. Really, the matter now is, can you make chips? And if you can, there's still a place for you here. Over time, is Intel's foundry going to get better and create more advanced processors? Surely. Is that time going to be very quick? And are they going to catch up and leapfrog Taiwan Semiconductor? I'm not too sure. Lion here says, my money is on Taiwan Semiconductor. Intel is still a crappy company. Okay. I'm a fan of Intel, but yeah, I'm not touching it. Okay. There we go. This is why we talk about those things. All right. The other one here, we're just talking kind of about Intel and Taiwan Semiconductor. Some of you might already think this actually. How many of you think that Apple could overtake NVIDIA as the world's largest company as AI, cloud, and Gemini fuel growth? I don't, your thoughts here on Gemini notwithstanding, but how many of you, some of you might already think this, to be quite honest with you. How many of you think that Google can overtake NVIDIA? I'd love to know. Let's take a look at this story, though. Google is my favorite of the Mag 7. I guess Apple's still technically my favorite. It's made me more money than Google, but I really, really like Google. Anyway, Alphabet's Google, ticker GOG or GOOGL, is emerging as the largest player in the AI market with a significant presence in nearly every aspect of the technology. The trend has intensified Alphabet's competition with NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, for the title of the world's most valuable company. Gary Black on Sunday posted on X, quote, AI wins have Alphabet poised to become the world's biggest company, end quote. Said Alphabet stock has surged 43% since October 31st of last year and has significantly outperformed NVIDIA's 6.3% gain over the same period. According to a Bloomberg report shared by Black, the gap between the two companies has narrowed considerably over the past 6 months. Alphabet closed Friday with a market cap of roughly $4.8 trillion, while NVIDIA stood at about $5.2 trillion after a late week rally, narrowing the valuation gap considerably. Quote, Alphabet holds a significant spot in almost every corner of the AI ecosystem, end quote. That came from Luke O'Neill, Chief Investment Officer at Cookson Pierce Wealth Management, and he was telling that to Bloomberg. Finished off by saying, NVIDIA may be the leader in building AI, but Alphabet has a rival product that's gaining favor, end quote. Alphabet's diversified portfolio spanning Google Search, Google Cloud, YouTube, that's a big one, and Waymo positions the company as a leading beneficiary of the AI boom, with potential to surpass NVIDIA as the world's most valuable company. Additionally, Alphabet's Gemini AI model is widely regarded as one of the industry's top performing systems. The online search giant holds a major investment in Anthropic, the developer behind the leading AI model Claude. O'Neill said, quote, Alphabet is so diversified that if one of the businesses falter, the others can pick up the slack, end quote. Alphabet's recent quarterly performance showcased remarkable earnings of $5.11 per share, significantly exceeding analyst expectations of $2.62 per share by over 95%. This was bolstered by a 63% year-over-year increase in Google Cloud revenues, which reached $20 billion, and indicates a robust market appetite for cloud-based AI services. Such impressive financial results underscore Alphabet's competitive edge in the AI cloud sector, aligning with the growing optimism among analysts who have raised their price target, including a notable increase to $410 by BMO Capital. This momentum not only solidifies Alphabet's position, but also reflects the broader industry shift towards AI, especially as competitors and tech firms ramp up investments to capture similar market opportunities. Alphabet shares now trade at roughly 28 times estimated earnings, which is hardly a dot-com era nosebleed valuation, end quote. That again came from O'Neill. However, it is above the company's 10-year average valuation multiple of less than 21 and near the company's highest multiple going back to 2008. O'Neill cited Warren Buffett's line that it's, quote, far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price, end quote, and concluded, quote, it's unquestionably a wonderful company, end quote. So how many of you think Google can pass NVIDIA? How many of you are already there? Lion here says Google is my favorite. WorkLife says, should we buy NVIDIA now because they haven't really gone up with the semi-momentum before institutions start pricing in for earnings on the 20th, or is it already too late? So that's the $64,000 question. Do you think we're already at peak earnings, or do you think there's another leg higher here for NVIDIA when they report earnings later this month? WorkLife, I don't have an answer for you on that. One of the things that we'll continue to do here is we'll watch some of the news and some of the unusual options that trade as we get closer to that print. I don't know. Personally, I feel better about Google than I do about NVIDIA. That's just me, though. That's just me. Goog is great, says Butcher. I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Okay. And it looks like we have some more. Boy, I can't wait till we get 13 on here. We'll break all these movers down for sure. Baff says NVIDIA will normally ramp up before earnings, and then it's a gamble as to what the market will do after those earnings are released. We've seen that before as well. We've seen that a number of times with some of these. All right. Ryan, ODYS. Okay, so you guys are you're shouting a mover here. I guess I can take a quick look at it. I only have one more news story. Oh my God, I just typed Ondas because it started with an O out of force of habit. Okay. Here's the question. This is Odysite AI. Odysite AI shares are trading higher after the company announced the executions of a cooperative research and development agreement with the Naval Air Warfare Command Aircraft Division Lakehurst. All right, that sounds like a really good PR. Stock is up 151% here. This one's going to be in play all day here today. Guinea says, that's the wrong question. You should focus on memory stock. NVIDIA and Google are just doing okay. Memory and photonics are doing insane. So is it your contention then that some of these memory stocks might end up even surpassing Google or NVIDIA? I mean, let's take a look at that here real quick. SanDisk's, their market cap, $230 billion. And that's going into today before the 2/10 increase. We already kind of talked about it. NVIDIA just exponentially bigger than that at 5.2 trillion. So your assertion is that some of the memory stocks are actually going to surpass Google and NVIDIA. I'll take the other side of that, respectively. But I would love to hear. And I guess I kind of just picked SanDisk. Maybe that wasn't fair. Do you like SanDisk or Micron? A little bit more. Micron here, $842 billion market cap. So if it 5X's from here, it'll be the size of NVIDIA. That's from here. So I'll take the other side of that. I think Google and NVIDIA are both going to remain larger. To me, if I had to pick between Google and NVIDIA, I would choose Google and I would add on weakness. Okay, we got 10 minutes till 13 shows up. I got one more really quick story here, and then we'll go back to ticker time, and we'll do pre-market pulse. We'll take a look at all of these movers, including ODYS, as that prints 12. Whew. I told you it was going to be a crazy week. We haven't even gotten started. We haven't even gotten to the regular session, and it's a crazy week already. Tesla rivals Rivian and Lucid say that restrictive dealership laws are actually hurting the adoption. So it's not necessarily that the customer doesn't want EVs. They're citing restrictive dealership laws. Executives from EV makers Rivian, RIVN, and Lucid Group, ticker LCID, say that the state's franchise dealership laws are hindering EV adoption across the entire U.S. On Monday, Business Insider published an interview with executives from Rivian and Lucid, sharing views on laws that could hinder EV adoption as automakers cannot control pricing and educate first-time EV buyers. Rivian's Director of State Public Policy, Bo Whitman, lamented the situation in Ohio, where the EV companies cannot sell vehicles, but prospective customers in the state could get vehicles serviced. Customers may have to pay to get temporary Illinois tags before completing power of attorney forms, the report said. Whitman called the dealership laws restrictive and complicated and convoluted. Whitman's comments were refuted by the Ohio Automobile Dealers Association, which pointed out that the company can sell vehicles via a dealership of its choice. Daniel Witt, who is the head of public policy, also criticized the laws, sharing that they can create some awkward interactions with customers, also acknowledging that sales representatives weren't legal experts and dealt with several red lines. U.S. laws prohibit manufacturers from selling their cars directly to customers, requiring prospective buyers to purchase vehicles via dealerships. It's worth noting that Tesla has had several disputes with states over dealership laws, with the Elon Musk-led automaker selling directly to consumers or to customers, through its own showrooms. Musk had once shared during a 2013 interview with the Texas Tribune that Tesla selling vehicles via dealers could create a conflict of interest, as the majority of dealers sell gasoline vehicles. Rivian is developing its own LiDAR sensors in the U.S., weighing a plan to manufacture its own sensors using Chinese technology after the company had unveiled its self-driving ambitions and universal hands-free technology last year in December. The automaker reported a first quarter revenue of $1.38 billion, which was up 11% year over year. The revenue figure also beat the market's consensus of $1.36 billion. However, its revenue of $908 million comprised over $468 million of revenue from its fleet deal with Amazon, ticker AMZN. Meanwhile, Lucid is also ramping up its efforts to develop a mid-size sub-$50,000 EV, as interim CEO Mark Winterhoff said that the move would let the automaker target a broader consumer base and help offset from Rivian's electric crossover SUV, the R2, as well as Tesla's Model Y SUV. So we'll see here. How many of you think it's the dealership, or how many of you just think it's what the customer wants? I think there's a time and a place for EV vehicles, but I don't think it is for everyone. Okay, real quick. Beth, you had said your bet was on NVIDIA. I was asking you, NVIDIA or Google. You have NVIDIA. Frozen King says, my buddy lost so much value on his EV. I've heard the same thing. I've heard the resale values for all of the EVs, whether it's a Model Y, a Model X, a Cybertruck, or anything in between. Resale values not great, I've heard. All right, folks, we're back here at Pro. We've got, what are we at here? 6 minutes ahead of the hour. Boy, we are doing great here. We're going to have 13 on real quick. Let's go back to this ODYS stock that you were looking at. And let me actually take a look at the PR here itself. Execute a cooperative research with Naval Air, part of the U.S. Navy. So this is a military contract in here. What else do we have in here? Forgive me for the dead air in here. I'm trying to pull anything out of this. I don't see any numbers. This agreement marks an important step in advancing AI-driven visual sensing in mission-critical defense environments. Okay, so I still don't see any numbers associated with this. I would say that this is definitely going to be one of the bigger trades here today, but I would just be careful with this one. Let's take a look at the financials on this company here real quick. Okay, so it does have 18 million in cash. So I guess you could make the assumption that they're going to be able to satisfy this contract. Let's see how they're cash flowing here. Well, they're cash flowing negative by only by 3 million. That gives them what, 5 quarters without having to raise cash? Perhaps they see income from the contract itself. Let's see what the short interest is on this. Negligible. Nothing held short on this. Insiders haven't been buying. In fact, they've only been selling. This goes back to last year, though. So, okay. All right. Stock ran into, it looks like 12 and 11 have provided the, oh man, this actually went a little bit higher. 1357 is your pre-market high. So I really think 12 is going to be our first level of resistance here. A pullback after this impulse move, probably not the end of the world. I currently have VWAP. Let's see. I've got VWAP sitting at 1045. So we're coming into that. We'll see if VWAP holds here. That actually might give another move here on this. GB Slice says ICE cars and dealerships are doomed. I will take the other side of that. I don't think that's the case at all. Zach says you lose 20% of the value once you put a tire out of the dealership in all cars. Indeed, you drive off the lot 20-30% right off the top. That's why the secret is buying a very, very slightly used car that still has a warranty. The biggest depreciation hit has happened under somebody else's watch. Buffalo by Bicycle says, when I was shopping, Ford was pushing those power boosts, and it seemed to be the only truck I could get from them. I went with a Ram instead. Undersized turbo gas motors is such a bad idea in a truck. Yeah, everyone wants a big single turbo anyway. Lion here saying, I may get a few Micron 800 calls. Okay, so you're looking, this is a new trade here on Micron. Here's what the Micron daily chart looks like. It is absolutely parabolic, excuse me. Lion here saying, I might get a few 800 calls. Ryan, they're expensive, but they can print some serious money. Now, Lion, I think it's important to recognize that you're taking this risky trade using profits from other trades that you have made, right? So this one might not fit for everyone's trade plan here. You're noting at the top here that this is a high risk trade, right? That's what I'm gathering from you. Just confirm that here. You said yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me start. We're still waiting on 13. Let me start taking a look at that other list of stocks that you guys had. ADUR was the first one. This is Aduro Clean Technologies. Stock is up nearly 8% here today. We actually, going into today, did have this type of trend line here. We're above the 200. This actually looks like maybe this is trying to turn this trend around, at least from looking at the chart here. Last piece of news was from Thursday of last week. It was about a veteran, an industry veteran to advanced petroleum applications. So I don't have any fresh news on this. Up 2.82% on Friday, up another 8% here today. Maybe there's something floating out there that I haven't seen, but I don't see anything here. Here's what I'm looking at on ADUR. First of all, we had a nice little pop that took us above the 200. We went right to the trend line. I guess we kind of formed the second point for this trend line, and we've backed off a little bit. This, to me, all seems fairly healthy. In fact, we backed down into an area where the stock had consolidated before. So I would say even now, as long as this is able to stay above some of these moving averages, maybe stay above 12 and 3/4 there, 12.75, things should be pretty good for another attempt at the trend line. That value, by the way, today I have it about 14.80. We're currently at 14.50 here, right? Yep. So looks like we're running into that trend line. Can we break the trend line? That seems to be the question there. ADUR didn't have any fresh news, and it is a Canadian company. Okay, thanks for bringing that one, too, to the group. I feel like that's a new stock that we don't look at every single day, and I'm here for that. All right, speaking of being here for that, GEV, any opinion? That must be someone new to the stream. But if you're asking for a new opinion or for an opinion here on GV, I think it's time that we start our pre-market pulse segment. We'll run down more stocks than just that one. $13, good morning. Happy Monday, man. How was your Mother's Day?
Oh, my Mother's Day was just fine. It was more about my wife and my mom than me.
That's where I was going next. How was your mom and how was your wife?
Oh, my mom's just fine, and my wife had a nice, relaxing day. It was we've had thunderstorms here, but it was nice. It was nice enough to just open up and to be a sunny day for Mother's Day, just long enough for us to enjoy the outdoors and the pool. So it was fantastic. It was a fun weekend. It seemed pretty long, but it was just a regular weekend.
Yeah, no, that's great. Hey, if your weekends seem long, better than them seeming short, right? That's for sure. 13, good to have you back here. I'm sure we've got movers to break down. We've actually already looked at ODYS here because it was just absolutely raging. We have a host of other stocks that the chat wants to take a look at too, bigger stocks that we're all familiar with. So where is it that you want to start here today? If you don't mind me making a suggestion, might I suggest that we start with GEV just to get that out of the way here from Michael?
Sure, we can look at GEV.
Okay, so real quick, just to kind of set the stage here, here's your GE chart. Michael was asking GEV, any opinion? So really kind of no other context there with that. Full disclosure, Michael, before we give you the opinion going forward here, it is worth noting that this entire group has been on this stock since it was like $600. And actually, 13, I beg your pardon, I might be misquoting it. You might have been on that a little bit sooner. I wasn't on that until it was about $600. We ended up selling it at just about 1,000. So we got a nice little move here already in this, and some of us have already taken gains. So just understand where we're coming from this, from the backdrop. Now, this was a huge player in the energy theme for AI that we had talked about. This one had more of a turbine angle that you had covered a number of times. 13, anything here for Michael on the GEV opinion, including if you're looking to re-add this, what levels might you be looking at?
So yeah, this was a fantastic trade. I had a longer time horizon on this, but we ended up moving up so fast that it triggered another rule of mine, where if I don't, go a certain percentage in a short period of time, I'm just going to, and it goes to my target, I'm just getting out. I'm not going to wait for that longer time horizon. But I think we'll get some better prices as this comes back in. And I think that's what we're seeing here. We did have a nice run into the April 23rd highs. And now we've started to, fade a bit here. And we just lost the 20-month SMA back in, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the daily chart here. I thought it was a monthly. We lost the 20-day SMA, I'm sorry. And I think that we could still continue to, fill this gap that was created between the 21st and the 22nd. We're almost there, and it still looks like we could continue lower. I would be a buyer again as if this came under 1,000, which it looks like it could. My thought is we could see this come down to 950, and that looks like an interesting spot. Maybe to jump back in. I haven't decided if that's what I'm going to do yet, but I think that we do fill that gap. I don't know that we're going to see 1,000 hold as support. I think we could get it a little bit lower. So for my short-term expectation is that we come in some more, fill that gap, maybe get some support under 1,000, and then we'll see what happens from there. But this was, a fantastic trade. The the whole thought here was, we're going to need more data centers and thus more power generation. And this is one of the biggest companies that makes turbines for natural gas and nuclear power applications. They have a massive backlog, but I think with how much the price has gone on a run, and I don't think that they've expanded capacity in order to meet that backlog yet. So that's they're going to have to get through that at the current pace that they're going. So I don't know that unless they expand, they're going to. There's risks to that backlog shrinking if it goes on for too long. Is what my concern was. So I thought it was a good time to just get out over once it hit 1,000 and just waiting for it to come back in.
Okay, Lion here saying the same thing. I love GEV. Let it come into 700. So looking for even more of a pullback there. Michael asking a very interesting question, saying, I'm thinking split. You think there's any chance that this stock splits?
I mean, hold on. Let's look at this for a second. Their float's 268 million. So I mean, it's not like the billions of shares like some of these other companies are. So I guess it could.
I'm thinking a 4-to-1 split here puts the price back down at 250, puts it roughly 1 billion shares outstanding.
Yeah, I won't say it's impossible. It certainly could. Seems like it could happen, but I don't know what would be the benefit for them, because I know when it comes, if it's like a battleground stock, like like Apple or Walmart, and they split, I can understand that. But what would be the reason this would need to do that?
Yeah, here's the thing. First of all, I think that if this split, the AI theme would have to just full march on going forward for this to be great. Some of these stocks that we've seen split recently have not traded all that well post-split. And I'm just kind of factoring that in here, just kind of maybe call it a recency bias, if you will. Just kind of looking at the chart here, to me, this $1,000 level, we should absolutely retest this, right? Mm-hmm. We should fill this gap. We should test that round number. 13, you did a really good job providing another area lower here, about 950. That's basically where the 50-day moving average is at. That's also basically where our parallel channel that this stock has been in since 2024, maybe even a little bit longer than that. That's basically the top end of the channel. So we'll see if we come back into either of these areas. I like 950. If we got 700 again, Lion, I'd be with you. I'd be trying this again. 13, I still owe you a stake for this. That was a really good trade. So, okay,
we'll get to that one day. Yeah, but this also come in a downtrend off its high too. So that's another thing you could watch for. But yeah, I expect this to come back in some more.
Yeah, Hedgehog here saying, yeah, Netflix has been horrible post splits. Carvana's weak. Remember Chipotle. The noob, I'm not trying to trigger you here this morning. I hope that you had a great weekend, but man, Chipotle, ever since that, didn't this stock split right here? I mean, this thing has literally been moving down since it split. Here, Jay, I appreciate you. CMG, Tractor Supply, SMCI, DEC, Booking, Netflix, all lower post split. So I just don't know if we want that juju here on GEV.
June 25th. 2024.
That. Look at this, dude. Okay, so this was the top was put in a week before the split, bro. Okay,
this is a little bit of a different story, because this one we knew about this one. We know a gentleman who knows a big holder of this, and we were getting all kinds of information about what they plan to do. So we kind of had an idea where this was headed, and this one was super extended. It had no business being up at that price, whatever it was before the split.
Yeah. All right. Real quick here. I'm going to take 2 more charts off of the list, 13. I'll go real quick, and then we can go break down the actual movers themselves, and we can come back and finish it off with ticker time here. First one that I wanted to break down is going to be AMD. Look, guys, we give out a lot of winners around here. We talk about stocks. We talk about trade setups, and it's not just me and 13. The group, they deserve pats on the back left and right. There's a ton, too many to name here, okay? But I literally talked about this late last week. I gave you the trade plan that I was looking for about pulling back, holding the bottom end of the island, curling back up to the top, 430, target 1, and then trim and trail on a breakout above. This is exactly what we've got on AMD. And I'll be quite honest with you, as well as the floating island formation works, it generally doesn't work this fast. This was like overnight, like we got the impulse move. The next day it pulled back and it held that area back near the close. Could not have been any easier. The following day we had a power candle. Now we have a little bit more. So our target 1 has already been reached. It was reached on Friday. Target 2, that's really whatever your risk profile shares here. If you ended up taking this trade, trim and trail above this breakout here, AMD has been absolutely awesome off this insane recent move. Now, the reason I started with that is we've talked about that for a potential trade idea, but we also had a question earlier about EVC, and this is Entravision. And the reason that I'm tying these two together is because Entravision was one of our movers from last week. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the television company that does Spanish programming. They reported earnings here. Let me just make sure I'm getting this correct. Owns and operates Spanish language television. Indeed, I do. So they reported earnings last week. They popped. Gap formed an island. The next day it pulled back. We didn't quite get back down to the bottom, but Friday we did. We actually peaked beneath it and then got bought back up. Now we have this bullish candle formed here. We have the top end of this range here is about 834. That's target 1 here on EVC. No position for me in EVC. Didn't trade this one, but just outlining it from the exact same chart formation that just helped AMD absolutely crush. So let's see how EVC does here today. Now, the question about this earlier, what's going on here? Do we like it? I like the chart here. I like the fact that they just reported earnings and the market is rewarding it. But to be quite honest with you, I don't have any edge or angle on Spanish television programming. I have no idea. All I know is the guy that does the soccer games that announces goal and then yells it for like 20 seconds. I don't know how he doesn't run out of air. Other than that, I don't know anything about this company and all of that, other than the chart looks really awesome here. So that was EVC. That was AMD. 13. Let's go ahead and take a look at, do you have anything on AMD or EVC?
AMD, it can just keep doing what it's doing. I don't have any commentary to that one. EVC, I think one of the spots we were keeping an eye on when we were trading this was $8. If you look at a monthly chart, that is a very standout spot. You also have some area around like 950 to 10. That could be another area, but there's also a little bit of a trend line as well. This might not be finished. I mean, if you look at the financials of, because they just reported earnings, that's what got this whole move going. Yep. That was a big change. When you look at just their quarterly reports, lose money. They've got revenue and it's growing, but they continue to lose money. And then this most recent quarter, big explosive revenue, and they turned profitable. So this one could continue.
Okay. Good stuff there. EVC, like I said, no position. Love the formation. 13 just broke that down for you. Okay. Good stuff there. Now, next, let's do some of these movers. And 13, you can start by telling me what's on your list here.
I got Click, MRAM, and I briefly looked at BZH, but that's actually going to be a proposal. I can tell you a little bit about that if you want.
Okay. I think what we'll do here is we'll start with Click. I'll run down the catalyst, the short interest, and I'll turn it over to you, and I'll be right back while you're finishing it off. And then I think I love MRAM. We definitely do have to talk about ODYS again. We're also getting a mention here for HIMS. They report earnings here this week. So we've got plenty of stocks on the list. Okay, let me get rolling here. First of all, Click. We've traded this one recently. This is not a new issue. We've traded this before. It's a Hong Kong name. Click Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in H2 preliminary results. You can see that actually popped us up to 5. We actually intraday double topped there up at 5. The impulse move took us to 5. We pulled back through the VWAP to the 9 EMA, bounced back through the VWAP right up to that area, but still stalled out there around 5. Factor that into your list here. When we coughed up the VWAP again, we never even made so much as an attempt to get back there. So VWAP is definitely going to be crucial here today. We're currently sitting in the 9 EMA. Let's see if we can bounce from that area. Quick peek here at the short interest, 1.91% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades 1.4 million shares. It's done 32 million shares here today, and that is versus a float of just about 3 million. So 13, what do you have here on Click? And I'll be right back.
All right, so yeah, this one dropped a Form 6 today. It's a corporate statement by a foreign issuer. And in that Form 6, it gave some preliminary second half year results. They reported higher revenue, but it looks like their margin has gone down because their net income wasn't as much as it was the previous half year. So it looks like they're experiencing margin pressures despite their revenue growth. Company's got 2.9 million shares in the float, so this one should be pretty easy to move around. This does professional AI staffing services, so it uses AI to help coordinate staffing solutions for nursing, logistics, elderly healthcare, things like that. As far as the chart goes, the support that I was looking at here before I came on was the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. That's where we're at right now. So we've come down to this first area of support. The next one probably down around 280, where that 200-day SMA is. But right now it's turning around, trying to get back above the 9 and 15 EMAs, and it also looks like the 9. I would say the 360 level. That looks like an area of support before we lost it. So that's going to be resistance now, and that's where we're at with CLIK. 65 EMAs currently support, 360 is resistance. It looks like if we lose 65 EMA, we're coming back in underneath 3. And as far as some of these other ones go, I'll just go over BZ.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Say BZ what?
H.
BZH. That's going to be Beezer Homes.
And we are starting to get a little bit of support from that 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart for CLIK. So let's see if we can recapture that 360 and climb back up towards VWAP. Now BZH, this one had is moving on a proposal to buy it out. Let me just move over to this. Did you want to say why this is moving and do that part?
Sure. Beezer Homes shares are trading higher after Dreamfinders Homes submitted a proposal to acquire all of the company's outstanding shares. Short interest on this, 7.35%, 4.75 days to cover. Trades about 500,000 shares a day. Float is 28.7 million. What's going on here, 13?
It's a proposal to buy out. This is nothing definitive, but it's an all-cash offer, and they are looking to take this company over for $25.75 a share. That's why you're getting this price up and kind of going sideways up here, just above 25. I don't really think there's a lot of a trade here, unless you're looking to trade this to the downside, because I don't think there's not a whole lot of room to the upside. But if anything with this proposal looks like it's not happening, there's only one direction this is headed.
Okay. Okay, good stuff there. BZH, what else do you have on your list, 13?
MRAM.
MRAM, let's do that. This is another mover here. And boy, oh boy, this thing popped in the after hours. Actually, it looks like it's holding. You know what? Really quickly here, I'm going to do the exact same thing we did the last couple of days, where I'm basically going to line out this range. And if it breaks out or beneath and then back test the range, we'll see if we get a trade set up there. I know we've got this other kind of outlier pullback here. We'll address that when the time comes. But MRAM here, this is the range that we've got, about 35.41 to 39. Let me see if there was any news on this. I looked earlier and I don't think I saw anything.
No, I believe this is moving off of relative volume or momentum.
I completely concur with that. I think that this is moving off of the recent catalyst that it's had. And as 13 just mentioned, look at the relative volume. This is what the daily candles look like. Also, I hate to do this to you folks. Actually, I don't hate to do this at all. Look at this. This is an island. We had a nice little pop here. It was above the previous area. We actually did hold that area, traded up, came back, held it, and now is ramping. Now it's going to the areas that we just outlined. MRAM, this thing, big pop here. All right. 4.24% of the float shorted, 2.2 days to cover. 13. What do you got on MRAM?
I have 33 as support. You may also get some secondary support between 32 and 33. There's a bit of a gray area in there, but yeah, I don't know that we're going to necessarily see I could be wrong, but I don't know that we're going to see a floating island situation with this one. I think this is pretty extended. I think this is also breaking out on the daily
We
chart.
already kind of did, is the point that I was making. This area in here was kind of that island that resolved to the upside.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think we could see this one potentially come back in today. So I would be careful. It looks like we are trading underneath the 65 EMA right now. We did get support at about just under 33 earlier. So that same level that we got support at, I'd be keeping an eye on that. It's just above the 200 EMA. So I would think if we do come back in, and I have drawn a trend line from just before we had this parabolic move in the after hours, just like right before there, I started the trend line and then I drew it through the low of the pre-market. I would say if we lose this trend line as support, we're coming down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
So that's this, huh? That's like connecting the
that
highs.
that actually looks better. Yeah, I would go with that. It looks better than what I've got. I would go with that.
This is interesting. This is definitely an interesting spot here. Okay. That was all of the ones on your list?
Yep.
Okay, then we're going to do ODYS next here. We kind of already took a look at this, but now it's had some time to settle. So this is Odyssite AI. Odyssite.ai. Shares are trading higher after the company announced the execution of a corporate research and development agreement with the Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division Lakehurst. It was a mouthful. This is basically a new contract here. It's an AI name, so it's in the theme. Theme me up, Scotty. We traded up to 13.5 here earlier today. The actual high value there, 13.57, excuse me, so 7 cents over 13.5. We've lost the VWAP. We did find some support at the 9 EMA. Those are going to be some of your key levels to watch here. A quick peek at the short interest on this. Again, we looked at this earlier. Sorry, negligible. 0.07%. There's literally less than 7,000 shares held short. No squeeze potential here at all on this name. Float is sub 10 million, so it should be a pretty good mover. And I recall from earlier when we did a cursory glance through the PR, we saw no numbers attached to this. Yep. And I still, with a second check and a more clear head or a more woken up head, I suppose, still no numbers in here. 13. What do you think here? ODYS. If nothing else, then the chart.
Looks to me, yeah, I don't have any opinion on the company itself. I didn't really look into it, so I don't know what this does or anything like that. But I was just taking a look at the chart while you were talking, and to me, it looks like we've kind of broken out of a downtrend here. I started with the April 2021 high, drew it through the February 2025 high, and it looks like this year we've been trying to break out of this trend line, and we just did. Now, where does this go? I think we'll see resistance around 10, and that could also be another area that may, it looks like we could, if we get above it, it will become support. It's just a really standout area of support and resistance, in my view, but we haven't had too much of that level acting as support, more so resistance. So I think $10 is where I would be keeping an eye on to see what happens up there. I don't know what we're going to get out of this one. This one could come back in, and if it does, maybe 775 you'll see support. But this is the breakout over a trend line here.
And I've never traded this one before, so I have no background on how this trades or anything. I don't even think I've pulled this up before. A couple of things to clean up here. Sorry, JJ. When I said sub 10 million, I meant that was in a 9 million handle, just shy of 10. Sorry for being unclear. The float is 9.14 million, so it is still low, but it's not as low as 1 million. Good clarification there.
I just looked at the 5-minute chart because I was looking at a daily chart with this. So it looks like we hit 1357 earlier. We're breaking over the VWAP right now. We're trying to.
Yep. Zach saying ODYS is non-tradable for me at Interactive Brokers. Scott saying I'm so tired of Schwab blocking 75% of these movers. Did you try trading this one, Scott? And remember, at least we know with Schwab, you can actually reach out to their trading desk and get that restriction removed. Maybe that's something for you there. I haven't done that myself, but that's what's going on here, ODYS. And as you mentioned, 13, we are crossing that VWAP as we speak.
Trying to do so right now. Now, if we do get past this VWAP, and now that I see that we've hit 1357 in the pre-market, if we go past 12 and go on to a breach and run past 1357, I would say maybe 16 is where you could find resistance at that point. That would be my next level beyond this VWAP and breakout area.
HPAI, this was the Singapore company. Did you cover this one while I was away?
Nope.
Okay, this is Hellport HI, or excuse me, gosh, bless it. Hellport AI. This popped in the after hours on Friday. Popped again here in the pre-market, but has been just bleeding pretty much all pre-market here. I don't have any fresh news on this. It's all from last week. They're all forms from last week, but that's what's going on here. Tom says it's very easy to remove that restriction. They read you a disclosure and you agree to it. And Dream Chaser says, I can trade ODYS on Interactive Brokers. So, Zach, that might be something to look into. Okay. Really quick, 13. We've got 5 minutes left here. Were there any off the movers list that you still wanted to go after?
Nope, that's all I looked at. It wasn't the greatest looking list today. The only real big movers were a couple of penny stocks and then one ETF. Everything else we already covered.
Okay, we can go back to that, but let's quickly hit the three stocks that I still have on my list. The first one here is Rocket Lab. And 13, I know this one is hits close to home here for you. Rocket Lab, this looks like an amazing chart right here. Rocket Lab, barely in the green here today, but this is after a 34% move on Friday. Here's what that move looks like. It actually traded up to 110 in the after hours. Grats to you, 13. We're sitting here at about 105. What are your thoughts here on Rocket Lab?
I'm starting to think that my 110 may be a little too conservative, but that was my target that I was waiting for with this. Fortunately, the market was closed, so it didn't do anything in the after hours. But this is a nice move to new all-time highs. I don't really have a whole lot to add. I just want to see what we end up getting here, but. With this price action this morning, we may end up getting some selling that takes us back under 100. But I still like this company, and they've got a really big backlog that it also includes their Neutron rocket, which has yet to fly. So there's just a lot of great things to like about this company, and they're going to be a big competitor with SpaceX's Falcon 9, and they've got the U.S. defense contracts and the exclusive launch site. So, like I've been saying about this company for a while, they're pretty solid, and I don't know what price target to give it. 110 was my the one that I've been saying for a while. We hit that already. This could be maybe twice that next year. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, that's a good breakdown there on Rocket Lab. Let me keep moving here real quick. Rigetti was the next one. We had a new viewer here asking what we thought about Rigetti. Told him that we like some other quantum names a little bit more, but Rigetti actually provides a great trading vehicle for us. Really looking at the chart here, it really seems that 2150 is going to be a level this thing needs to get above if it's going to have any more positive move. We do have the 200 days sitting right above that at 2280. Do you have anything here on Rigetti for this morning?
Yeah, when we were talking about trading RGTZ, I was, I always point out, watch what Rigetti does, because that's what it's based off of. And the target that I was waiting for was 21. I thought we could see a rejection there. It couldn't manage its way past 20 that much, and it's still struggling with that level. But it looks to me like this might push beyond 20 and go to that 2150 or even higher. Because we do have a bit of a reversal pattern developing here with Rigetti. They also have earnings at the end of the day. Today they report after the close. So and I'm not expecting anything. Like, I don't know what they're going to report and what kind of revenue they're looking at. But with the way this reversal pattern looks, it might trade to the upside off that report. So that's something I'll be watching for. It's going to be interesting to see what they report, but.
Jay says long spaghetti, short Rigetti. I kind of like that. I love spaghetti. That's just me. All right.
I think there's better quantum names out there, but we'll see what this does.
Last one here is HIMS. Now, this is an interesting one. I know these compounders are kind of back and forth. HIMS, we've seen this make a huge move. It does look like it kind of put in a bottom. It recently took out this pretty key area here at 25. We're sitting here at 29. Would love to see this thing get back above 30 and then maybe even 32. That would set up a possible run to the 200 EMA, 200-day moving average. Do you have anything here on HIMS? I don't know that I trust this right now.
I've got two levels on here. I don't know how long I've had them, but I'm sure they've been on my chart for a while. $25 was one level. That was a support and resistance area. We just recaptured and back tested that. We recaptured in last month on the, just after, just after tax day. And we ran up to close to the 500-day SMA. When we came back in, we back tested 25 as support, and we're coming back off that now. The next level that I have marked off here is 34. That's where I think we're going to next. So
okay,
I don't know what's going to happen once we hit 34, if we're going to break out of that, but we're open. So let's just see what we get.
All right, we are open. Good stuff there. And then you guys are also talking about the Cerebras IPO, CRBS. That price is on Wednesday, open for trade on Thursday. That's going to be an AI name. That was one of the big AI names that we were looking at. That might draw out some other funds here. So we'll see. All right, Google straight down out of the open here. MRAM down slightly out of the open here as well.
Yeah,
actually like bring MRAM up on screen here. Sorry, go ahead.
Looks like it's going to come. Well, let's see if it gets support around 34. If it loses 34, I think it goes to 32, where that 200 EMA is. Click. This is kind of trading underneath at 65 EMA right now. ODYS, this is trying to get through that 50, that VWAP. It's moving now. So here we are going through 10. That's one of the resistance levels I was pointing out earlier. We're coming up to 12. And then if we get through 12, it looks like this is going to halt. If we get through 12, we're going to see if this can clear that 1357 high that it made. I think 16 was the level I gave as we managed to get through 1357. It is halted.
I have ODYS halted here, 1081 to the upside, halted at 931.13 is your timestamp.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's like every $2, there's like a big resistance level. So, the next one could be 12 and then 14 and then 16. So we'll see what happens at 12. Maybe if we get through that, 14's the next target.
SPY straight up out of the gate here. That is a big time push away from the VWAP on the S&P futures. Breath is green across the board except for the Dow and the Russell, although that is improving. Trend on the SPY also bullish. Trend on the S&P futures also bullish. That is trading higher here. QCOM going with that. QCOM, new highs here on Qualcomm. DGXX, someone mentioned this in the pre-market. We didn't have time to get to it. DGXX holding sideways here. Will be interesting to see if this gets above 765. DigiPower X shares trading higher after the company announced upsize at the market equity program by 100 million.
Wow. You tend to get some pretty good moves on upsized capital raises.
So DGXX, who thinks this goes here today?
$8, I'd be keeping an eye on. If you look at a monthly chart, that looks like a previous support area that the price lost in 2021 and has not been able to recapture. And it looks like we might be getting a test of that level today, $8. You got to look at a monthly chart, though. It really does stand out.
Yeah, it sure does, 13.
Oh, you're missing 2021, but it's fine. I think it kind of illustrates the point there.
Yeah, well, I still see the $8 level there, and here it is. So we're at 750. Okay, big pop there, DGXX. Let's see on that.
MRAM, it looked like it was starting to fade a little bit here, but we got some support from the just above the 34 level. It's turning around, coming up to resistance, which I would say is going to be somewhere between 39 and 40.
DGXX, that was a pop right to the VWAP and through there on that. Here's MRAM turning around. MRAM, let's see if that can get back above 38. SPY continuing to push higher here. 738 coming on the SPY.
BZH, the one that was, had the buyout announcement, that down, not doing a whole lot, but it's getting some support from the 2450 area.
That was BZH, right? Beezer Homes.
That's it. What else are we looking at here? Click. You're looking at Click. That's not doing a whole lot. It's looking like it might try and recapture the 65 EMA. If it does, then let's see if it can recapture 350 afterwards. We'll be back in business. I would say after that, that I think I mentioned 360 also as a level, but I do also see 385 being a support and resistance level in the after hour. I'm sorry, in the pre-market here. So now we're getting moved back up through the 65 EMA. This might be recovering here. Big seller at 345 though.
DGXX looking like that's trying to battle and go through the VWAP there. Good breakdown on click.
And we're just waiting for ODYS to unhalt. Retro, I'll take a look at B for you.
Good to see you, Retro.
Yep.
Thanks for the pictures, by the way. Looks awesome out there. SPY at the highs here. 738 has stopped it so far. Ondas pulling back out of the open. Ugh. I know Ondas reports earnings here this week. Not been great recently. Still long for the earnings, though, folks.
So Retro, I'm looking at the monthly chart for this. Kind of like what I'm seeing here. It looks like we're about to get a golden cross for the first time ever. Moving averages have only been around long enough to have one death cross, and that was back in 2015. So here we are 11 years later with the more bullish version of that. And that may be an indication that we could be climbing higher. It looks like support is going to be about 30, I would say somewhere around 35 to 37. And that's kind of where the price went down to just recently before we turned around. I would say that your resistance is going to be 55. That's the big level to clear. And I think that's pretty much near the all-time highs as well.
ODYS is open.
Yeah.
Sorry, 13.
No problem. So I would say that based on the way this monthly chart looks, it appears like this could go higher, just based on those two technical things, those aspects I mentioned here. So ODYS
open going to be halted to the downside at 990. Huge seller, and it keeps growing there on the level 2. You're going to get halted here.
Yep. And then we'll see what we get afterwards. What did this go up to, by the way? This went just past
1132. Here, let me actually get you that high print there. 1130, excuse me, 13. 1130 on the dot is what I have.
That's pretty close to the low of that reversal candle at 855. The one that took us up to 1357 and then turned it around. That gravestone doji, that looks like the low there, pretty close to the low. So big resistance level there just before 12.
Light here, this is up 7.5%. It actually looks like this re-challenged the high out of the gate and stopped there. So I'd watch for this intraday high break here. This is on Light, Lumentum Holdings. This has been another one of those absolutely monster winners for the group here. Re-challenged that all-time high, could not get above it. What do you got, 13?
It looks like we ran to just shy of 39 in MRAM and reversed. So came up to, I was looking, I think I said somewhere between 39 and 40. So hit that area and reversed. This thing kind of reversing hard. Coming down to the support area we were looking at earlier this when we opened. 32.76 looks like if we go lower than the Princess in the regular session here, that's going to be the next support area prior to the 200 EMA.
Really quickly, I just mentioned it, the Cerberus IPO that's coming on Thursday, CRBS. Is anyone looking to play that? Has anyone requested IPO allocation for Cerberus? And I'm wondering if anyone else thinks that this is going to be a AI sell the news. Maybe some of these AI related stocks slow down a little bit when we actually get that IPO. Let me know if anyone's on that camp. Kathy mentioning Navitas here. That's NVTS. Navitas Semiconductor. This thing is straight up out of the gate. All of those semi names. Jay Rice, your INDI, your little semi name. Where's that at nowadays?
Rocket Lab 111 now.
4.5 on INDI. Let's see if it takes out 460 here. Okay, well, you said Rocket Lab, right? RKLB?
Yep, over 111 now. Also seeing mentions in the chat for AEHL. That one Looks like that's snapping a bit of a downtrend since the pre-market opened.
Okay. Really quick, Lion, you are trying to get some CRBS in that IPO. Selena, you are trying for some as well. Zach doesn't trade IPOs. Okay, so we do have a couple. I did DD. Wow, Robots Trade says I did due diligence on Cerebras. My target is 500. I think it's IPOing at like 130. I'm no longer in INDI. Yeah, I just wanted to check with some of the other semiconductors running out of the gate here. I'm not in that one either. I actually made money off that call back in the day though, Jay. So, all right, and then Rocket Lab, you just covered that 13 new highs. Okay, good stuff.
Getting a mention that TRA. This has been mentioned here several times this morning. TRAW.
That was a movie from last week, right? TRA.
I believe it was. Just kind of straight up out of the gate here, trying to put in some new session highs as I speak.
Yep, this is above Thursday. I know we don't have Brent today because he started a new job. Congrats, Brent, wherever you're at. We keep the seat warm for you. But here, this was a mover on Friday. This above the pre-market highs. Thursday, excuse me, 13, Thursday. Oh, no, Friday. Beg your pardon. It was Friday.
Yep. And it looks like they also are going to be issuing some more shares. No, it's a pipe investment. And they're announcing all kinds of stuff here from last month. There's an insider buy as well, a big insider buy. Although the average price was 28 cents, so they can handle the millions.
Easy go. Be very careful with this one. This is a 6-cent penny stock. This thing's an absolute junker. Just be careful. It looks like it's moving here today. Good luck with that, Reggie.
So trying to climb up over 280. There's a seller in the way at 280, so it looks like 280, then potentially 3. Those look like the next two biggest areas of resistance.
Yeah, Lion here saying CRBS is going to eat some of NVIDIA's lunch. That's the other thing we were asking earlier about NVIDIA versus Google. Some of these names might get cannibalized by some of the new IPOs. That's absolutely possible. SPY, new highs now, actually. That just spiked to new highs. The only breath that's negative is the Dow, and that is continuing to contract.
Space names, see how they're doing this morning, because a lot of them are up. We had a lot of space names going last week. So far this morning looks like the best one is going to be AAOY. I have that in my space list now as I have an angle to that, but some of the other ones are doing pretty good. Looks like Plug Power up over 5%, and then you have Rocket Lab over 3, Red Wire over 3, Black Sky looks like that's up a couple percent. Base name's doing all right.
Microsoft down as always. So TRA continuing to go here, by the way. It's a good mention, whoever's on TRA.
280 was the spot we were waiting for. It's through that, looking for 3 next.
Microsoft, indeed, down 1.3% here. This actually looks like it might roll over again. We'll see if it can hold 400.
MRAM lost that trend line, coming down to the 3276 support area just above the 200 EMA.
So we here, you know what? I took that off on this one. Shame on me. Let's
try almost a 3. Well done, Scott.
So here's your MRAM. It looks like it did it. Man, it just played around in the range. Now it actually looks like it's broken down from this. So I think this might be all right. Short down. We'll see if it holds 30 here. MRAM. If I were taking this short, I would have a stop here above that 35.5 on MRAM. SPY still new highs, 738.16. Your high print, your ES candle on the 15 looks like a big vertical green bar. Oil, by the way, we talked about that. Oil's actually traded down from this morning. It was up about 3%, only up 1% now. That's moving inversely to the broader market. Sorry, 13. What did you have there?
No, I was just going to mention TRA, 293, just 7 cents away from the $3 resistance. And there are some sellers stacking up between 290 and then 3 now. So we're going to need to see some pretty decent volume expansion if we're going to get through all that. It's like there's a lot of polling happening here in some of these names.
Market Sniper saying, is TRA connected to the hantavirus? On Friday, we got a headline here that they advanced a potential clinical candidate for treatment of hantavirus. Mm-hmm. So that is exactly what this is moving on. Jay saying, guys, what are your thoughts on the narrow leadership? There's a lot of names not doing so great. And you had mentioned McDonald's, Abbott, Tractor Supply Company, just to name a few. There are others there. Microsoft comes to mind. Jay, I will say that the concentration has me worried that if we pull back, we could see kind of an elevator down. Now, I'm not in the camp that believes things are ending and it's bear market and blah, 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 30% down. We're going to 400 on the SPY. I'm not in that camp at all. But I do think that some of this concentration might lead to some shaky footing if the market doesn't, in fact, decide to move down. This is one of the reasons why I was asking if any of these new IPOs are going to be some of the catalysts that ends up sending the market lower. I feel like some of the concentration can kind of accelerate that. But at the same time, AI is clearly leading everything higher, right? So the companies that you named, not big in the AI space there.
TRA hit 296, and looks like it's getting some pressure from those sellers. Still hasn't fallen back yet, but it's getting some pressure.
SPY, more new highs. 738.81 going for 739 now. And Jay mentioning NVIDIA new highs. I'm seeing NVIDIA call sweeps on the back of that as well.
I wonder if this Trump-Xi meeting is kind of driving some of these names higher because of the fact that he's trying to take a bunch of CEOs and corporate leaders with him to China on his visit. ODYS is back open, lower.
Lion here saying, as far as a pullback goes, he sees Micron going to 1,000 first. Okay, that's something to watch.
That might very be possible. Where might Oracle top out at? I was thinking Oracle might run into trouble around 200. Where's it at right now? Okay, well, looks like so far that thought isn't wrong. 200 is kind of where I've been looking for Oracle to run into problems to the upside, and that was kind of where it was running into issues back in November last year. So kind of looking at that as a potential resistance area, and then if not there, the 200-day SMA, both resistance areas, I would say.
Jay here saying 13 BA went red, so a lot would be a China play. Real quick, Zach saying Ondas recovered. Liberatus say couldn't have made a more precise formulation. AI is taking the market higher. I'm not trying to be daft here, Liberatus. I'm just saying, a lot of us kind of think, hey, the market could really pull back here. It's been vertical. I get all of that, but very clearly what we're seeing here is that AI is the theme that is moving us higher. When does the music stop? Your guess is as good as mine. Joe says oil prices will come back later this week. Do you mean high oil prices? There's no reason for the dip unless it's completely manipulated like silver. Silver's ripping and the silver miners are ripping even more, Ryan. So that means Q, WPM, and PASS mentions here, in addition to SLV, as those stocks continue to trade higher.
Yeah, Wheaton looks like that's kind of setting up for a breakthrough, I would say 150. That just looks really interesting to me. That's a daily chart I'm looking at here. This gets more and more interesting the larger I go. I'd be keeping an eye on 150 for WPM. Probably my most favored silver streamer. ODYS halted to the downside again. draw through 3 in a big way. 320 now, the high.
Let me refresh my platform here real quick. And that you're absolutely right on that, Traw. What a move.
Getting a pretty big move in BDAI. That's trying to take out this seller at 420. NEM is nice. Good to hear it.
It wasn't a burn, Ryan. I just enjoyed the double on track. Yeah, that's fine. I just realized, like, when I read it back out loud, I was like, I guess I might want to provide some more context there. 739.14, the new high there in SPY. What a rip here. Breath is green across the board now in SPY. Ondas did recover. That's flashing red to green. We could really use that. Apple went ex-div today, so that's trading down. Might be on ex-dividend. Rigetti is really popping up. Boy, I'm glad we talked about that before it opened here today. Not a day for RGTZ, but instead a day for RGTI.
Yeah, so far that pattern I was pointing out, kind of resolving higher. We may see a move up through 20 that takes us to 2150 or possibly even higher than that.
Now, I know that you said it earlier. I'm pretty sure that you said you don't know what to expect for this company for earnings, which is totally fine. They report after hours here today. Here's the interesting part about this, though. I still think that this 2150 is a key spot. And like recently here, this chart formation actually looks pretty good. If this breaks and goes through 2150, you might have a carry through day tomorrow on Rigetti. I'm just looking at the chart. I have no idea what to expect out of their earnings print tonight. But I'm just looking at the chart here. 2150 seems to be key. I think we can break above that if it puts up a good print.
Not seeing a whole lot of movers we looked at behave very well. MRAM kind of sideways. TRA's really been the best one.
Yeah. DGXX, that was a good mention earlier. I don't know what it's done since. That was a pretty good mention earlier. That had a nice little pop. Oops, I didn't.
Highs in for the session in Redwire.
Oh, here we go. DigiPower. It finally loaded it. It loaded the wrong one, then it loaded the correct one. So this actually gave us a nice pop, but it came back through the VWAP. Okay, sorry, 13.
No problem. Thoughts on Kratos? And we'll also look at RXT. RXT, that was a mover from last week. That's Rackspace. I think that had a pretty massive run last week, didn't it? And then we're probably just kind of cooling off.
Yeah, didn't they report their earnings? I think the start of that run was their earnings print. Let me check the news feed here, 13. Let me just make sure I'm getting that right.
Okay.
Indeed. On Thursday in the morning, they reported earnings. It was a mixed report. But they affirmed sales. I guess that was really only in line. So maybe this was just kind of an overexcited reaction to this. This down 10% here today.
Kratos, they had a death cross last month, at the end of last month. So I would expect more lower prints from here. I think the 500-day SMA has a pretty interesting area of support. It's just beneath the $50 area. That would be the next level of support I'd be looking at. I don't know that we're going to necessarily see the price continue its sell-off there, but I would expect there to be some short-term support. If this continues lower through the 500-day SMA, then I would think, 1 second here.
Ondas red to green with authority. Amazon red to green with authority.
I would think that about 35 is where I would place, the strong area of support. If we continue to sell off beyond the 500-day SMA, I would be looking at 40, somewhere between 35 and 40 as the strongest areas of support.
13, I'm just going to plot a horizontal line right at 40 on KTOS here and just kind of leave it on the chart just in case we come back in there. That way I'll be prepared for the next time.
Okay.
You got it, Brian. I'm glad somebody got that. I'm glad somebody got that and can laugh at it here on a Monday morning, Brian. Love it. Several of you were mentioning Poet earlier here today, if I'm not mistaken. Poet's up nearly 8%. Joe saying USO 140 by Tuesday. So Joe, let me ask you, is that a short-term swing trade that you're taking here? USO is 136 right now, so several points in there. And that's on the back of thinking oil is going to be higher because nothing's really happening here.
Click down to the 200 EMA now on the 5-minute. And it's not really showing much signs of being able to turn around. Volume doesn't look great. It's getting a bit of a lift here after hitting the 200 EMA, but I don't know that we're going to reverse here. Lots of resistance to recapture at this level. So you may get this to come back up into the 330s, but I don't know how much higher it's going to go from there.
Nikhil, are there any earnings that you folks are looking for here? Well, obviously, I'm looking forward to the Ondas ones. Let me see if my...
Yeah, Lion, that's, on longer time frames, that spot seems to be better to me too. So I would say 35 to 40. But yeah, I kind of like that. Any other earnings that I'm looking forward to this week?
Alibaba Wednesday morning 13, maybe.
Nothing's running around in my head right now about things I have.
Oklo tomorrow night.
I'd have to look and see what's coming up this week because
got it on screen for you. How about NBIS Wednesday morning?
That might be.
Can I interest you in NBIS?
That might be interesting.
Cisco Wednesday night.
ASTS might also be interesting there too. I know some people are trading that one.
Ondas. Ondas. I have this on the morning of the 14th. I hope Thursday's a good day, guys. Bullish. We actually talked about this one recently. Ticker BLSH. That's the morning of the 14th. Guy goes on CNBC all the time, the CEO of that. AMAT and Boot Barn report Thursday evening. All
right. While you're looking at that, just going to mention TRA after printing over 3 and going as high as 323, we've reversed and lost VWAP. This is why these are day trades, but that was nice moves. Thanks for putting it on my radar. That looked pretty good. Just had 4 straight green candles out the gate there.
Frozen King says, I have to say thanks. Ondas has made me a normal person's wage in a year.
That's awesome.
You know what? That is a registering. That's what I hope. That's what I hope. And here's something else. Sometimes we get questions here from people. It says, I want to change my career. I want to start trading full time. And that's all well and good. And if that's what you want to do, great. I will say this. One of the best things that's ever happened to me is the ability to do the trading and investing as a side job to my main quest line, if you will. This is more of a side quest to my main quest line. And by doing that, you're able to do things like hold things through binary events like this. Because I feel it as being supplemental, I don't feel the normal pressure of having that being like exactly what I rely on day to day. And that makes holding some of these things through earnings far earlier. But if you can build up your supplemental job to be giving you profits of what a Frozen King's normal person makes in a year, that's something else, man. Now you're living the good life. So really good stuff there. Zach says, Ondas was my best trade ever. I love it. I love it, folks. And I hope it gives us another opportunity to do that. Anyway. Thank you, Kenneth. Crypto vote on Thursday, Senate Banking Committee. Kenneth, do you know what time that is offhand? I don't know off the top of my head. Let me know if you, I'm sure I can look it up, but if you have it off the top of your head, let me know.
Ryan.
Yeah, what do you got?
Remember we looked at INOD last week because they had earnings?
I do.
I think they might hit the trend line we drew.
Oh, no, because what's funny about that is that they were actually pulling back earlier today. And if you're talking about the trend line now, here's what INOD looks like. Okay, so
That's
nope. Sorry, 13. Here's INOD. It's up another 23%.
Yeah, look at the daily chart of this thing. If you still
Oh
have the trend line,
God,
if you still have the trend line, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, this chart wants us to be.
I think no. You know what? 13. I think I put that one on my other one. Hang on, though. We're adding it. We're getting. I can't even. This is just.
That's hilarious.
Let me fix this trend line here real quick. Oh man, INOD. You know what? Register ring to anybody that has INOD at this point. I know we talked about this one a long time ago.
Yeah.
But vote is at 10:30. Thank you, Kenneth. So that vote on crypto 10:30 in the morning on Thursday. That might play into stuff.
Well, I mean, maybe we should get a watch list together for things we should be paying attention to when that vote goes through.
Didn't we have Circle earnings here this morning?
And don't forget to set aside Uncle Sam's cut.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's something else. If you folks are newer to this and you make the biggest trade ever, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give to you is keep that money on hand until you figure out what your tax burden is. Everyone's a little bit different. If you don't have a guy that does it for you, you're going to have to ask around, but don't get too excited early on. You might not be used to what you have to pay in tax, as Frozen King or Von Rivera, excuse me, is mentioning here. By the way, Circle did report earnings here today. 21-cent EPS beat the 19-cent estimate. The sales came in a little bit light, though, by about 28 million. Stock did go red to green. Stock's up nearly 1%. Lion, I think the next big opportunity is on quantum computing. You are not the only person that thinks that. And 13, shout out to you because you have been steadfast in saying that quantum is going to be around the corner quicker than some folks are saying.
Yeah.
And so far, you appear to be correct on that.
And I think I recently just saw an article. I don't remember which university did the study, but I think what I got from the article that I saw is that they were pretty much confirming that that's the case. It's much closer than we think. That 10-year, 20-year horizon is actually more like single digits. I'll have to look and see. I'll have to find that article. Hold on a second.
Chris Forsman, I know that you, first of all, it's great to see you. I know that you had mentioned Plug earlier. Plug has been straight up out of the gate. So while our movers have kind of been crummy here today, grats if you hit Plug. USO, by the way, continues to creep in. So if you're on the same thought or wavelength as Joe, you're getting a little bit more of a discount there on USO. What did you have, 13?
Apparently it was Harvard. Harvard Quantum Initiatives in Science and Engineering researchers report that advances in fault tolerance have accelerated quantum computing timelines by 5 to 10 years, bringing early form to large scales. This is potentially within the reach by the end of the decade. That's from Harvard. Glad to see they finally caught up to what I've been saying for the past couple of years.
There you go. That's
a mean flex, and I'm sorry to say that.
I know they should not have doubted the one and only 13.
I really don't. I'm not to make this seem like I'm trying to beat my chest about this or anything, but it's just funny to me that we're here. Yeah, I'll post.
Reggie says it's sad your profits are taxed, but your losses are ignored. Your losses are ignored past $3,500, which basically means they're ignored.
Nice move on Plug.
Jay says the rotation in this market that is happening by the hour is something else.
It's wild. It's just so much indecision.
So I have communication services really kind of getting hit today. Healthcare, industrials, utilities, mats, energy all seem good. There are pockets in IT, but there are pockets in IT that are red.
I'm still thinking Meta loses 600, and I still have my eyes on 520.
Hey, sorry, 13. I see my K. Getting a registering on BTBT. I'm sorry, 13. I guess I did not include this one. BTBT. Here's your registering. Boom, boom, boom. We'll take positive vibes on a Monday any day, folks. Any day.
Now, JD, QuantumScape QS, that's not a quantum play. That's actually a battery play, even though it has quantum in the name. It is up 6%.
Call buying on the back of it too, 13.
So, this is, I would be focused on this for on the energy theme with batteries. So this looks like, I don't want to, say, oh yeah, this is going to 10 where it's going to find resistance, but there's a interesting case to be made about that. We did have a silver cross late last month. We have recaptured the 500-day SMA. We're still trading above it. Looks like $10 is a big resistance area, and just above that you have the 200-day SMA. So in my view, there you could argue that we go up to $10. I don't know what's going to drive it up there. Maybe it's just going to piggyback off of some other stocks that are moving in the battery theme, but this looks like it's trying to make its way back up to 10.
Just saw something here. CoreWeave. Oh my. Out of the money call buy here on CoreWeave. This is for January of 2028. 767 days to expiry here. January 21st. That might be a January 21st. So traders spent 1.27 million on that on CoreWeave. 195 was the strike. That is an upside buy. Sorry, 13. I was just kind of going through that live there as I saw it roll across the wire.
No problem. Axon not performing exactly how we were hoping it would right now, but it is still holding the 50-month SMA, and that's a big level I'm watching. May just need more time to turn around here, but this 50-month SMA, big support level. I think that it would be a sign of bad news and further downside if we ended up closing monthly candles underneath this. So that would take us down to the next support area, which is, I think, at 300. But as long as we hold this moving average, I think we still can turn around.
Okay.
And Lion, don't forget Inflection, INFQ.
How's that doing this morning?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's up almost 5% here. And I wonder if this is going to, if Rigetti puts up a good number, I almost wonder if this trades well in sympathy with it. Velo, we were asking about the space plays earlier here. This is the 3D printer that has multiple deals with SpaceX. Might be considered a space play here. They have earnings tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
after the market closes.
I mean, this is a company. I was looking a little bit into 3D additive manufacturing, and I'm just super excited for the capabilities in manufacturing that this can present to our country and just really the world. 3D manufacturing is going to be, I think we're going to see it expand at a pretty large rate at some point. Just couldn't say when. But this is a big name in it. They make some very sophisticated machines that are like $3 million a pop, making complex machine parts. This is already making parts for the V3 Raptor engine on the Starship booster that we just saw do a static test fire last week. So we know this is working. Really surprised to learn just how much more durable and stronger 3D printed parts are compared to cast and CNC machined parts. So there's a lot of positive things to come out of 3D printing. Velo's in a very interesting space, being strategic partners of both SpaceX and Anduril, and having a number of government contracts as well. I think 3D printing is going to be a theme to watch for in the future. And I think Billo is going to be one of the important ones.
Yeah, I have a little bit of this too. High 12s is my price on this. I'm holding that for earnings for sure.
No, I know you can't name them all line. There were a bunch of them, but yeah, teamwork makes dream work. Billo is having a pretty good day today. I wonder if we do see this climb over 15 today. If you look at the price action on Friday, we did have a couple of highs we could draw a trend line with, and if we continue that trend line into today, that takes us a pretty good ways up. I don't know that we'll hit it, but just something interesting to watch for. Hey, I'm the same thing, Line. Here's my coffee, and here's my desk.
You guys need to take care of the rustiness on your desk. I mean, we can get that fixed, guys. You just need a good craftsman will get rid of that rust. Just throwing it out there, Lion. I know you can afford it.
Some of these names are just really taking off. Like BBAI, that was sinking last week and looks like it's recovering this week, having a pretty good morning.
AREC, this at the highs on a volume pop here. AREC, just noticing that off the scanner. On Semiconductor being mentioned here by CW Parker. Great to see you, by the way. Here's On Semiconductor. Maybe we get another breakout here. What did this say? 106, right? Yeah, 106.
Vuzix. This one is also interesting. They were presenting. Let me just pull up the information because they were at a show all week last week presenting some of the capabilities of their glasses and how they can be used in different work environments. Let's see here. Yes, the SID Display Week 2026 in Los Angeles. It was going on from May 3rd to 8th, and they were showcasing their Ultralight Pro OEM glasses along with their LX1 and Z100 glasses. Now they have earnings this week on Thursday after the market closes.
Carlos looking for a breakdown on GSIT, GSIT. GSIT, this is ramping. This is actually up 34.5% here today.
Holy GSIT, look at this thing go.
Holy GSIT, he says. GSIT, last piece of news I have is from May 7th. That was their earnings. That was after hours. No news since then. This thing is popping here today.
Yeah, and it's not the only semiconductor name that's running on no news. I think this may just be, rising tide lifts all ships situation. I haven't seen any news that would, indicate that this is going higher on its own. So probably just a broader sector lift is what I would think with this one.
Okay.
Unless I'm missing the news, I don't know what's moving on. Other than that,
INOD up steady. INOD, man.
Hey, good morning, Amanda.
Hey, blast from the past, Amanda. What's going on? What do you have on your radar, Amanda? And do you have any earnings that you really like this week? That was another question we were asking earlier. By the way, INOD 13. Look how close we're getting to the target. 116 is that trend line.
That was wild.
That's wild,
buddy. Now watch. We're gonna hit this trend line. It's probably gonna fidget with it a little bit and then turn around. That'd be hilarious, and it wouldn't be something that
I'm here for it, dude.
It wouldn't be something that hasn't happened before. Because if you look on a monthly chart, it's done the same thing the past couple of times when it was the past several times when it was trying to establish this trend line to begin with. It just kind of gets to this trend line and backs off.
Last Thursday, INOD was $46. It is printing 110 as we speak. Whose life has changed from INOD?
Not mine.
No, I like I said, I wish I was still in this 13. We talked about buying this from the happy hour alert when this was $4 years ago. And I thought I did great selling it out at 11 and 13. It's 110. It's not quite.
There's always going to be other opportunities.
Always. And like I said, I'm not even mad because I would, if I was looking at this here this morning and I had end up losing money on INOD, I would be pissed. But I made a pretty handsome amount on this a while ago. We were just talking about this last week, right? Someone was asking, how do you deal with an issue where you sold the stock early? You're thankful for your gains and you move on to the next play. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
So Can't beat yourself up over everything.
Looks like we got a turnaround here in MRAM. Came down to that near the support area we were looking at, and buyers stepped in and started clearing all these moving averages. We are recapturing the trend line right now, but we still have resistance up between 39 and 40. Now, with this renewed move up here, maybe we get enough volume that takes us up through that region of resistance.
Amanda says, I'm selling iron condors and hoping the tops don't get blown off. You know, when we just spoke with Anne Marie on Friday, we had I can't remember what the stock was, but we had a stock where it was unanimous that the best trade to put on was a condor, an iron condor. I can't remember the ticker. Anyway, sounds like you're in the right spot. Hopefully your Mother's Day was good, Amanda. Velo straight up 14 and a half.
And happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yes.
Trading with us today. It's hard to hear. It's hard to hear me. Is it hard to hear me, guys?
I hear you okay. I'll be honest. I hear you okay.
Okay. Now I'll tell you what. If everybody's having an issue with my volume, I'll fix that.
Producer's really good at sifting through the noise too. He's got good ears. He can tell. Corning 200. This up at the highs again. Jay, you think this has got some more legs? Yeah, it looks like the rest of the group can hear you here, 13. Okay. You're good. I can hear you pretty much every day.
Okay. I mean, speaking of straight up, I know it's not, substantial moves. It's still, less than 50 cents, but BDAI has just kind of been up most of the day, most of the morning. TRA really came back in though. We all looking at it.
How did Plug finish up here? This was Chris's day trader here. God, Plug still at the highs. Chris, I feel like the last time we talked about this was 340. Are we on 360 now?
I think this is also, I mentioned this earlier, as being on my space watch list. Yep, it is, because they have a space angle to this. So maybe it goes with some of those other names. If we do, and it's got an interesting reversal pattern happening on the monthly chart. Nice recapture and hold above the 20-month SMA. I would say the big resistance level looks to me like it's going to be somewhere between 450 and 5. So depending on how this price action goes, if we can get it back above that, that may determine if we continue running or not. But $4.50 to $5 looks like a big area of resistance.
Deep Tech asking the question here. Do you think we're nearing the top? This is the $64,000 question. 13, how many times do we talk about potential market top in happy hour? I feel like it's every other day when we discuss that. So you're asking a very common $64,000 question here. There's no substantial news, but semis and related are up again. Is this healthy? I asked earlier, which company do you think would be bigger in the long run, Google or NVIDIA? And they're roughly close. And someone from the chat suggested the memory names would be even bigger than that. And those things aren't even at $1 billion market, or aren't even at 1 trillion market cap. So if you think that person is correct, I'm not making a comment one way or another, but if you think that person is correct, I don't think we are at the top. If you're talking the memory names 5x their worth from here, we're not near the top. Now, if you don't think that's the case, maybe we are. Lion here says we are in the last quarter mile, if you will, run of this market. So this is the hard one, right? I personally do not think, I definitely think we're going to see another pullback this year. I don't think it's going to be any big, terrible recession, I don't think any of that stuff is happening. That's just me, though.
I would like to actually get a correction, not the almost correction we had earlier this year. I want to see some,
9.99%, 13. I mean, were they toying with us? What the F?
Yeah.
It's kind of dark, says Ryan, with regards to your comment on your INOD trade that I bought near 4 and sold at 11.12. I bought AMD at 194 and sold it at 220. So I know exactly what you're emphasizing there. Look, you made 20 plus points on that trade. Did you know it was going to go to 500, 400 something? There'll be another one out there. No question.
Still holding AMD. Where's it at now? Oops, that's not the ticker.
Amanda, this is interesting. I feel like all of the AI is a shell game, and as memory goes up, prices will go up, and people will start watching their token usage. You know, it's funny. Every time I talk to somebody, and I'm talking folks like us, like our group here, like 13 and you guys, I expect you guys to run out of all of your tokens on the AI. We talk about it every day. We're constantly doing analysis. I'm amazed at how many people I talk to in the real world that are not necessarily directly plugged into the market, and they tell me the same thing. I use all my tokens every day in my AI tool. I've got the Claude Big Plan. So part of this, part of that watching token usage, I think you might be on to something on that. I think you might be on to something there. All right, 13. What else you got here? Velo 1460. Ondas at the highs. We need Ondas back in double digits. That's what we need.
I mean, Redwire is having a great day too. 1241. Right after earnings, they sank on potential share dilution, but not really an issue. They've got a lot of contracts, a lot of business, so they're certainly got a higher sentiment than what those earnings were providing. I mean, look at this thing go. It came down to 840. That was just 5 days ago. It was 840. Now it's
1230.
So another $4 in just just over the weekend.
I'll tell you what, 13. This daily chart looks like this wants to try higher.
Yeah.
Looks like it wants to try higher. SPY, by the way, already tried higher. 739.52, a new high here in SPY.
And MRAM coming up to some of those areas I was mentioning earlier, that 39 to 40 area where it's coming up to right now. And we're going to find out if there's still resistance there, or if we're going to break through it and turn that resistance into support.
Come on, chart, load for me. There we go, chart. There we go. Did I speak too soon? There it is. There's MRAM, and would you look at that? We stayed in that range. I know we dipped out of it a little bit, but boy, oh boy, we stayed in that range.
Yeah, it's in the data center. There's got a lot more than that. It's also manufacturing in space. They've got 3D printers up on the ISS that are working right now, including biological 3D printers. There's a lot. They have a whole program for experiments in space. I forget the name of the program they have, but it's specifically used for conducting research in space. But they also have contracts for aerospace defense, and it's one of those things that we've been saying for a while. It's a very much a picks and shovels type of company for the space industry. And I do think that we're going to see a lot of infrastructure in space. We're not going to start seeing like all the infrastructure, all the push to go to different planets and explore the outer reaches of our solar system yet. We're not close to that yet. We're going to be seeing more of building out the near Earth infrastructure and the lunar base as well. So think space stations, satellites. Around Earth and some around the moon, and then the lunar base on the moon. That's where we're all headed in the near term, and we're going to need data centers in space for that. But they're not going to be these high-end performance chips like we have here on Earth. They're going to be probably like a 5 to 7 nanometer process, so it's more reliable. But not as high performance.
Lion thinks Redwire will have big room to continue moving up. June 11 Redwire calls. Okay.
June, those are $11. Not the 11th of June, but the 11th strike.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry if I wasn't clear there. $11 strike June expiry calls. Thank you, 13.
Yep. What's next? Big Macs in space. You got to get enough of an economy going, but yeah, eventually. Maybe not in our lifetime, but at some point.
Rigetti. Come on, Rigetti at the highs, 2050. Remember, 2150. Ionic also trading higher here. Ionic up by 13.5%. I'll tell you what, 14% now. So these quantums moving ahead of this report, or ahead of this Rigetti report. How's INFQ doing, 13?
That
is also at the highs today. So quantum having a good day here, folks.
It is. It is having a good day.
Yes, it is.
Zach, if not Big Macs, what, like maybe a Domino's pizza? Or should we also avoid the Noid?
Avoid the Noid?
Did you not remember that? Maybe you might have been too young, but Domino's.
I mean, I'm the same age as you. What the F?
Domino's ran a commercial a long time ago that had this character, this claymation character called the Noid. And he looked like a rabbit in a red jumpsuit.
I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember that.
Chat, help me out here, chat. Does everybody remember what the Noid was?
The Noid.
I must be showing my age.
Quite all right, 13.
Yeah, he was like a gremlin-looking dude. Yeah.
Apple's bounced back nicely after its ex-div pull out of the open.
Yeah, replay knows, avoid the Noid.
I love it, replay. I remember him. Cad Monkey, I will have to YouTube that. You're right about that.
I bet
I will
that
definitely have to get myself up to speed on that one.
I'm sure as soon as you see it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah.
I remember. Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Like Big Bucks, No Whammy. I remember that show too.
I remember No Whammy from Anchorman. That's just me, though.
That is years later.
Years later.
Although they may have run that show alongside Anchorman. Anyway, let's get back to stocks. Give some more plot details, right?
Oklo here. This also at the highs here. Oklo plus 7%. They have earnings here this week. That's going to be tomorrow after hours. OKLO.
So it looks like MRAM still dealing with trying to get up into that 39 to 40 area. It's come right up to it and said, I don't know. We'll see if we get in there. DXYZ, anyone still holding? I mean,
I am not.
That's pretty much one of the only ways to trade SpaceX ahead of the IPO.
Didn't someone from our group do some due diligence on DXYZ and figure out how much SpaceX exposed? I feel like that was the Thinking About It project. And
it was something like not a lot or something.
Yeah, it was something less than like we kind of traditionally thought when you actually did the math itself. Yeah. NASDAQ pulling back, SPY pulling back. Did we get a headline?
I'm seeing a lot of things coming right now. Iran wants sovereignty over Strait of Hormuz. A man also has rights to the waterway. All right.
Well, how's oil doing? Because Joe's been saying, okay, so oil's up, but just slightly, not like a huge move here. Joe's been saying he likes oil higher. I think 140 was it the You said it was about 140 by the end of the week, Joe. I don't want to put it. I don't want to put trades out that you don't approve of, but I could have sworn we said 140. Stock was like 136 when we did that. All right, 13. We're out of time here for today. Any closing words for the group as we embark on another crazy week here?
Well, I don't think we were able to really put our finger on exactly what was getting some of these stocks going here. It seemed like there was, as Jay pointed out, a lot of rotation happening every minute. But hey, at least we managed to find some trades and capture some gains and had a pretty good morning with some of these space and quantum stocks. So let's just keep that energy, bring it here tomorrow, bring back that capital, we'll trade it, and we'll make some more money and have a good time. So take care. Have a good rest of your Monday, folks, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
All right, 13, good stuff as usual. See you on Happy Hour and see you again tomorrow. Folks, we'll be back again at this tomorrow. Full week here coming up, and we've got some more earnings. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll catch you tomorrow on Tuesday. Take care.